Hello, today we're going to take a look at an independent crossword. It's number 11227, set by Serpent, and I believe originally published on Thursday the 6th of October 2022. So let's take a look. I don't know anything about the setter either, by the way. But let's start with one down. So what contributes to Millionaire's ultimate payoff? So I assume the definition is payoff. It could be a bribe, it could be a settlement in terms of a bill. It's also a result, and actually looking at the clue, you can see that the word result is embedded in the clue. So we're off. 9 across. Former partner is beginning to enjoy acquiring fresh skill. I doubt the definition is former partner. It's too long for that kind of thing. So I suspect the definition is skill. So in which case a former partner in this instance is likely to be X, EX. So we're looking for another word for fresh, presumably. Well, skill is expertise. Okay, so former partner isn't X, is and beginning to enjoy is letter E, and fresh is pert. If you chuck all that together, you'll get expertise. 11 across. Waste associated with bears, but not close to woods, or close to woods, I suppose. So close to woods is the letter S, which I suspect we're being asked to remove. Associated with bears. And the word ursine is associated with bears. And if you take the letter S out of that, you're left with urine. And urine is, well, in this case it's bodily waste, I suppose. Okay, let's try 2 down. Faculty, position, taking power for the first time. So I think what we're being asked to do here is replace, I presume, the letter T for a letter P inside a word that means, I presume, sort of first time. So faculty. Oh, I think, yeah, so actually position is attitude, one's attitude on something. And if you were to replace the first T, first time, with P for power, aptitude is faculty in that sense. Let's try 3 down if we can. Nasty urges shrouding start of fair in an ugly manner. Not sure on that. Let's try 13. That might help actually. Engineer got layout that's absolutely true. Engineer could be an anagram indicator for, I presume, God layout. That's 9 letters, so the definition here is absolutely true. In my university days, reminds me of doing tautologies and Boolean logic and that sort of thing. But tautology is an anagram of GOT layout. Four down. Restaurant smothers recipe with gravy. Okay, a little bit of general knowledge here for specifically UK solvers, which I'm not sure how this would translate, but in the UK there is a brand of instant gravy called Bisto. It's been going for donkey's years. So the definition that we're looking for is restaurant. So smothers recipe with gravy. R can stand for recipe because it's a Latin word for take, so the letter R is abbreviation there. So Bisto plus an R gives you bistro. 5 down. English drama inspired by communist is shown again. I think the definition here is probably shown again. It could be the name of an English drama, but that's a bit too generic. Communist could be red or shay or anything like that. So if it were okay, yeah. So red for communist is true in this case. Play is a type of drama, and E for English is a valid abbreviation. And if you replay something, it is indeed shown again in the past tense. 12 across. Gossip, revealing sinister side of scandal. I know what I want it to be, but I'll come back and get some more letters. I think 6 down. Make changes to start of documents in connection with revulsion. So the start of document is the letter D, and a connection is a tie. But indeed, to make changes to something, you edit them, and the revulsion part. Oh, beg your pardon, that's revolution, which makes even more sense because that's indeed going backwards. So tie backwards there with the letter D inside it. It pays to read the clue. 10 across. Investigate entrances to locks via riverbanks. So the entrances to locks via is LV, and river banks here is just on the outside of. So LV inside of another word for river. So the definition here is investigate. Well, if one delves into something, they look into it. And that's another form of investigation, I suppose. And indeed, the River Dee here in the UK is pretty common in crossword land. There's quite a few rivers called River Dee. The most famous one is probably in Scotland, but there's also one that flows through Cumbria, which is part of the National Lake District as well. Seven down. Attack inhibits left over race. Theatrical characters performing adult parts, essentially. A for adult is quite common as an abbreviation. Theatrical characters. Not quite sure either. Okay, let's have another look at 3 down actually. Nasty urges shrouding start of fare in an ugly manner. Okay, definition must be ugly manner. Nasty urges, again, the letters of urges. Oh, it's gruesomely in that case. Let's put that in, have a look, find out what's going on here. Right, so letters of urges is in there. And then Ian Lee is fair. Without the first letter, as in shrouding the start of, is to remove it. And if you do all of that, you will get Solemn Leaf and for ugly manner. Nice. 15 across. Text analyst, for example, taken on by City briefly. Somebody who analyses text is an exeget or exegete, I think. And that would be e.g., for example. And then let's just have a little look at that, because I think our City, we've got e.g., which is, for example, and then, yeah, around that is what would be the city of Exeter, except we don't have the last letter R because that's City briefly. Again, a little bit of a tricky one, I suppose, if you're not necessarily familiar with UK geography. But that's just how these things go, as they are British publications. 17 across. Reduce or cancel parking charges. I think the definition here is reduce. Deplete would fit because delete is cancel around the letter P, which can actually stand for parking. Still on the Y's, on 8 down. Attack inhibits leftover race. Slalom would fit for a race, slalom race. Slam is attack. And then L and O for left and over. Those are valid because L for left and O for over, as in the cricket notation. It's 12 across now. Gossip, revealing sinister side of scandal. I want that to be tell tales for gossip. If someone's telling tales, they're gossiping. It's rumour, it's hearsay. Telltale is revealing, as in the telltale sign of something. And then the sinister side of scandal is just the letter S because it's on the left hand side. Thinking about where the devil and the angel sits on the shoulder, for instance, for that one. 14 across with an M in the middle. Familiar way of working in study. Well, a den is a study, and a working actually can be abbreviated to MO, as in modus operandi. It's a way of working, and actually a familiar in the sense of a demon. God, that's tricky actually. A demon is indeed a familiar. 8 down, theatrical characters, that must be personae. Performing adult parts, essentially. One's personae, a dramatis personae, is one's character in a play. On is performing, if a play is put on. That's where that comes from. A for adults is an abbreviation. And then we've got what's left over here. Essentially, that is Latin per se. "14 down. What can kill? Sort of aphid eating their bananas." Okay, the definition here is what can kill most likely. The word "sort" here is sort of drawing me towards an anagram. Which possibly is the letters of aphid. And then "their bananas" again is another anagram indicator, which is technically 10 letters, I think. 1, 2, 3. Yes, it is. What can kill? I want this to be some sort of bacterial disease. Diphtheria. Diphtheria is an anagram of aphid. There, I think. Oh, that's an interesting clue actually, where there's 2 different anagram indicators within the same clue. I just need to remember how to spell diphtheria, but I believe it's spelled like that. Okay, let's continue in this corner. Let's look at 26 across. Remove restrictions on text files being transported. Remove restrictions on text files. I think, oh yes, that's very clever indeed. If you remove the outer letters of text and files, the letters that remains is EX, ILE. And if you're being transported, being as a noun, you are in exile in the sense that you are being driven out. That's a very neat clue. I like that a lot. Okay, 23 down, another E. Youngsters qualify at the last minute. Youngsters qualify at the last is the letter Y. I suspect is at the end. Oh, very clever. It's not the word minute, it's the word minute, as in small or teeny or teensy, because teens are youngsters, apparently, and Y for qualify at the last. 18 down. Idle girls lifted sentence in solitary. Yeah, okay. Idle can just mean relaxed or stationary, but given how some of the clues have been written so far, I'm mindful that I suspect idle here is a reference to Eric Idle, one of the Pythons from Monty Python. The word eremitic means solitary, which is the word Eric, but it's around the word time, and if you are in prison doing a sentence, you are said to be doing time. So we've got time going backwards there because it's lifted, and then around all of that is the word Eric, which is what idle stands for because it's guarding that reversal. 28 across provides evidence that is found in conditions following trial. That is i.e. id est in Latin, and then testifies would fit because test is a trial. Then you're left with ifs for conditions. Okay, 21 across. Part of centre at mental hospital may provide it. Hospital may provide it. Must be treatment. Why is it treatment? Part of an inclusion indicator, and embedded in this clue is the word treatment. There it is. So that's how that works. 22 down. All the same, numbers that are divisible by 2 and 0. Okay, so if you divide numbers by 2 and 0, I guess they're even. And then and O here is so divisible by 2 is actually evens, and then literally and O tacked on the end for even so, which is all the same. 16. Players sent off without angry shouting. So possible anagram here. So sent off, letters of sent, I suspect. And then another word for angry shouting, which is rant. Players entrance, actually. If you're entrant into a game, you are a part of it. You are typically a player. 24 across. Person living abroad has no right to go on and on. Could be an indication to remove the letter R from something. Person living abroad is an expatriate, and if you take the R out of that, you're left with expatriate, and that actually means to go on and on. 25 down. Closed openings for young students in sports. Young students, I suppose, are okay. Sports is toys. Too fussed about that clue. 27 across. Hang about like a sailor. That wants to be tarry. Hang about is tarry, and tarry could be a bit like a sailor, in the same way that sticky could be a bit like a stick, for instance. But a tar is another word for a sailor. 20 down. Great sandwich must have a filling. Okay. So a sub is a sandwich. if you're American, certainly, I suppose. Must have a filling. Well, another word for a is per, as in per this one, per that one. Must have it inside of filling it, I suppose. 19 across. Savoury hot snacks short of nothing. So I think definition here is savoury. I think what we're having to do here is again think of a word for, I presume, hot or hot snack, and take the letter O out of it. And we're left with a definition that means savoury. Yeah, okay, a toasty, which is a sort of slangish word for a toasted sandwich without the O, gives you tasty. Tasty does mean savoury in the sense that something is being enjoyed. It can be savoury in that sense. And then the last one is 15 down. Staff agreement ignores mass petition. Petition. I'm not sure the definition here is staff or petition. Okay, just given the words, sorry, given the letters that are left, agreement is a treaty. Yes, and entreaty is a petition. And actually staff here, I was thinking of sticks and staffs in that sense, but actually men is all we need here because men are staff, and ignoring mass means take the M away because M is a valid abbreviation for mass. And so, with that said, we're done, 100% complete. Fantastic, that was great. I will keep an eye out for Serpent again because I've quite enjoyed his style, or their style, so far. I don't know what gender the setter happens to be, but that was jolly good fun. And thanks again for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.